Welcome to the SAG-AFTRA Foundation's Conversation at Home program. I'm Nzinga Blake, race and culture executive producer for ABC-owned television stations. Before we're joined by our guest today, I want to let you know that the SAG-AFTRA Foundation is a nonprofit organization that relies entirely on donations to provide emergency assistance and free educational programs to SAG-AFTRA artists. This conversation is made possible thanks to the generosity of our supporters. Over the past year, the foundation has given nearly $7 million in COVID relief to more than 7,000 performers. If you're a SAG-AFTRA artist and need help, please ask. And if you can help, please give. Information can be found in the description below this video. Thank you for your support. Now, without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce actor Jodie Turner-Smith of Anne Boleyn. Welcome, Jodie.
Hi.
Hi. Oh my goodness. First of all, Jodie, congratulations on your powerful performance of Anne Boleyn. You have such an incredible, commanding presence on screen and in person, because I've seen you before and we've had conversation over the past years, and it's wonderful to see you playing such strong roles. Now, for this character in particular, you embodied the strength, right, and fierceness of Anne Boleyn, and a lot of it was nonverbal communication. So can you first tell us, how did you get ready and prepare for this role?
Well, first of all, thank you for all of the beautiful things you said. What's so special and crazy about this role is this was the first undertaking, the first television show that I did after having given birth. And so there was so much that was just on my sleeve. There was so much, it's a huge physical, mental, emotional transformation. And I took all of that energy and channeled it into this production. And I had no idea what results it would yield. It's funny because I think as a woman in general, like as a person after you give birth, you're like, well, who am I now? You cannot expect to be the same person that you were before. Nothing is the same. Your body is not the same. Your mind is not the same. And so I really went into this with kind of this, I had no expectation for what it is that I would create. I had all curiosity. And I just took that with me into the experience, and this was the result.
Absolutely. What I find fascinating as well is just this intriguing character that Anne Boleyn was, right? What intrigued you about her?
Anne is extremely fascinating. And one of the most fascinating things about her is that we actually don't have a record of her in her own words. So all of the stories about her, all of the things about her that we've seen to date have all been other people's ideas. And so I feel like that left a lot of room, I think, to imagine like what the internal life of this person would have been. I was so intrigued by this opportunity to tell a story that was less about what was sensationalized about her, what has been sensationalized about her, like a seductress, 6 fingers, a witch, and more about what did the facts of her life that we do know, what did those potentially indicate towards? Like, her upbringing. She was raised around a lot of powerful women and outside of England. So in a way, when she came back to England, she was an outsider, and she had some grand ideas about women, about herself, and about the country. And I just found all of that to be so fascinating.
Absolutely. She had opinions, and that kind of ruffled a lot of feathers. Mm-hmm.
as is wont to do, even now.
That's right.
A woman's opinions ruffles feathers. a woman who takes up space, a woman who is demanding a seat at the table, a woman who is pushing the patriarchy towards change. People don't like that.
People don't like that. Isn't that crazy?
Women don't like that are used to things being a certain way. It just felt like so current.
It is. That's what I was about to say. 1536, 2021. Not much has changed, it feels like, right?
I mean, we have still so far to go. We're still having the same fight. You know, we are standing at the precipice of Roe versus Wade being overturned. I mean, I didn't think that something like that would happen in my lifetime. Did you?
No, not at all.
And here we are in 2021.
Yeah. I mean, you know, just everything that has happened since last year, this year, you know, you've made history with this role, being the first Black woman to play a historical British monarch. How does that feel, first and foremost?
I mean, it feels pretty amazing. You know, it felt more amazing when I first said yes before I let the outside world crowd in on the artistic joy. But it is a performance that I am very proud of, and that in making, I'm so proud of who I was in making that I rest in that feeling and not in anything else. And so in terms of that, it feels pretty damn good.
I mean, unfortunately, you knew that this was going to draw some criticism, yes. Right? Yes. How did you mentally prepare for that? And can you explain to the audience what that does to a person's overall well-being? You know, because you, like you said, you were so happy, but then the words come. Harsh words.
Harsh words. The unwanted messages. I mean, I had to, I had to change my Instagram settings so that people can't message me anymore. I don't accept message requests because the vitriol, the anger, the just blatant. I mean, and this is something, you know, I have to say that my first film, Queen and Slim, was an incredibly polarizing film as well. And so I had kind of started to have an understanding of what it felt like to have people lash out at me and what it made me have to do for my mental health. And, you know, when you think about it, when that movie came out, I was already pregnant. So I dealt with all of that while I carried my child. And so it was really hard. And I think in a way, I'm grateful that it happened during literally the most vulnerable time of my life, because like anything that doesn't break us, it made me stronger. And not to say that it is even fair that I should have to create strength through such heartbreak, but it is what it is. And so I think going into this, I was no stranger to controversy. And so there was a big part of me that said, look, I can understand why it makes people upset. People feel protective over their own ideas and things that have presented them, their realities, what are their realities. And people will always resist someone asking them to imagine a different reality. And those people that are angry about it were going to be angry about it anyway. Is there a hope that I have? I mean, this is an opportunity that I'm given to change someone's mind. Is there a hope that I have that somebody will watch it and their mind will be changed and they will think differently? Absolutely. And that is the opportunity that we have as storytellers to do that each and every time we go out there to create empathy. and to make someone suddenly feel compassion in a different way than they did before. Will we always succeed? No. But again, it's all about the experience you have making it, and the joy that I felt in doing that, and the joy that I felt in pulling these feelings out of myself and these experiences out of myself and telling what I felt like was an honest story and doing my best to be truthful. That is something that people's comments can never take from me, you know? And so you just become a person who deals with it by understanding that you've got to take the things that are for yourself and protect those, and all the rest of it, you just have to try your best to navigate, because you can't completely ignore it. I mean, I can block people on Twitter and Instagram and stuff, but they will find all the ways they can to get their evil messaging in. And the thing about social media is that it amplifies negativity. It amplifies everything, including negativity. And so sometimes it can feel like, oh my God, everyone hates this. This is so right. I shouldn't have done this. But for even one person to look at this woman on screen and say they felt seen in some way by this Black queen, then I've done my job.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's the thing that I was hoping, right? Putting race aside, you know, what is so powerful about the story are the common universal themes that are shared by humans, right? And that's what I hope that people can draw from that. You know,
Yeah.
don't just see you as this Black woman, see you as a mother, a partner, a wife, someone who has desires, right? And so it's those universal themes that I absolutely loved. And I would love you to tell me about what were some of the themes that you drew from this and you want the audience to come away with.
Yeah, you know, it's something that I have been saying a lot when people do ask me about this, and which is that, you know, I saw this as an opportunity to tell a human story, you know, a woman's story, because regardless of our class or our race, we are having a common experience as women. And we all understand these feelings and emotions: anger, love, grief, desire, ambition. I was telling a story about these things, you know, and so that's really what I want people to take from it. If they can look past my race and just focus on the story that I am telling as a woman, as a mother, as a person who is taking up more space than she's told that she's allowed to, a person who is more of an outsider than an insider, all these things that Anne Boleyn was.
It's beautiful. And what did you learn from this experience?
Well, I certainly learned that I contain multitudes. And I definitely learned that from project to project, but this project was a very specific challenge for a very specific time of my life, you know? I mean, the rawness that you feel having just had a baby, the challenge of being a working mother, all of those emotions, having to tell myself every day that I am a better mother because I choose to be fulfilled. And that there is an expansion at the end of it that makes it all worth it. And I mean, I'm just very happy that I did it. And I just learned that, I don't know, yeah, I learned that I contain multitudes. And I feel like every little experience teaches you that lesson, and then you do another experience and you're like, the multitudes that I had defined as multitudes are actually multitudes. You know, I mean, I learned that I am not done learning, that I am constantly beginning, that the expansion is eternal if I let it be. And I'm just really grateful for that. You know, I didn't know I was capable of so much.
Yes, you are capable of a lot, queen. And you keep thinking about societal pressures of women for women, right?
Yeah, yeah.
On a lot. And so what are some of your advice, especially for women who are in the arts, coping mechanisms? Because one thing that is very evident in this series is you can really see Anne just, she's challenged by her mental health, right? Yeah. There's so much going on there. And what she had coping mechanisms, you could tell.
Yeah.
So what is your advice to women, especially women in the arts, because it is a hard business?
It is a hard road. And I think, something that I think is so spectacular about Anne Boleyn is that even to the end, she remained bold. And all that she did or thought she was doing to protect herself and her daughter, all that she manifested, she actually achieved after her death beyond what she even expected. She birthed one of England's greatest monarchs. And that is what she wanted women to have a seat at the table, and she birthed the future Queen of England. Henry never got his male heir that he wanted. And look at us now in 2021, still talking about Anne Boleyn. She is immortal. Her energy is immortal. And so my advice is just keep going, be unwavering in your belief of yourself, and never let that belief of yourself deafen you to learning and growing. Do not stop growing. It is your job on this planet to grow. Grow and learn and keep going. And do it for the experience of doing it, not for the end result, because there is very little that we have of control over the end result in terms of how people will receive it, in terms of, whether or not, if you're not producing it yourself, in terms of how it's going to be put together, how it's going to be cut, what's going to end up in it. There's so much that's out of your control. The vision of the network, the studio, the whomever else who's doing it. But if you do it for the experience you have while doing it, and because also, as a performer as well, I don't know about anybody else watching this, but any performance that I have, when I watch it, I'm fucking tearing it apart. We're always going to be so self-critical. So it is all about how it feels when you're doing it, because that is the purest part of the experience that you'll have. Everything else is fluff.
So insightful. I hope you're writing a book, A. And B, let's talk about the fashion before we wrap. I see it's very much inspired. Like, look at from the necklaces, right? The layered necklaces to her faith. She was very strong in her faith. I love the cross. Yeah. You got the bustier going. What did you love about Anne Boleyn's style?
Corsets, honey. Okay. Corsets. We love a snatch. We love a snatched waist and tits to the throat. I love it. I love dresses. I love big dresses, gowns, beautiful gowns. I love that. When you play like that to me is so fun. It's part of it. Look, I play dress up for a living.
Yes, you do. And you do it so well.
Like, I'm going to fucking enjoy the hell out of getting dressed up. So, and I love it. And obviously doing the press now, it's lovely to have Anne Boleyn inspired clothing with more corsets. And I was always a corset girl before I even played the queen. It's like, I knew.
Right, exactly. Any other historical figures that you would like to play?
Well, I read this comment a lot, and it resonates with me so deeply. Yes, let's start telling some African queen stories. I'm down.
Hello.
I want that,
Hello, exactly.
I want
Zinga.
that too. You know what I mean?
Zinga, Queen Zinga. Yeah.
Yeah, ideas. Let's go. Let's produce it.
Let's do it.
You know what I mean? I want to do, and also I want to tell. I would love to tell a story about Queen Nanny of the Maroons.
Ooh, yes.
Even though the Maroons are complicated, as are any peoples that are born of resistance to colonialism and oppression. But I'm going to look for a story in there.
I absolutely think you should. That's going to be powerful. Oh my gosh, Jodie, I can sit here and speak to you all day.
Same. It's so good to see you again.
Oh, good to see you again, too. Jodie, on behalf of the SAG-AFTRA Foundation, I just want to thank you for sharing your experiences, your process, and craft with all of your fellow performers. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me so much. It means the world to get to come and talk to you all, like, really.
Of course. And we'll see you soon.